Presented by That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster, this is Shonen Jumping the Gun. Mag Dump! Hey, lock and load. We're reloading the first 3 volumes of a manga to see how they avoided a shallow grave.
That's an awful lot of tanko bonds on this battlefield. Alright troops, lock and load. It's time for a domain expansion with Jujutsu Kaisen.
Howdy, folks. We are back again, back at once again, with Mag Dump. It's me, your host who clearly can't talk very well, Moxie here with my good co-host, Isekai Sensei Sama Brad. Brad, how are you functioning?
Actually,
I was trying to change it up.
Not great. I'm having leg pain.
You're having leg pains. You have a curse on your leg. We need to get a Jujutsu sorcerer for it.
We just did a 250-mile march, and my leg is killing me.
And boy, are my arms tired. But no, much like we kind of forecasted from our last Mag Dump, our first Mag Dump for Naruto, we are covering Jujutsu Kaisen. Because when I read it, it felt so specifically inspired by it, which is weird because interviews with the author, not to say that they didn't get inspired by it, but they specifically cite Bleach, which surprises me, and Hunter x Hunter, which does not, which I guess maybe we'll get into then. So as we do on Mag Dump, I guess now that there's 2 episodes to create some sort of consistency, is we are reading the first 3 volumes of a manga to see, what made it live? Why did it get out of the gates when other things didn't? What made it work that it got to survive as long as it did? Is there any spots where it seems like it could have gotten off the train? Just a deeper dissection than the normal first chapter.
Yeah.
So for our case...
What's in the DNA?
Yes, that's a good way of looking at it. And kind of comparing and contrasting, because a lot of these are going to be wildly successful manga that we're covering.
I mean, we're picking the wildly successful ones on purpose.
I would say this is one of the most recent wildly successful manga that's out there.
Right up until the end.
Depending on how people feel about it. So Jujutsu Kaisen is by Gege Akutami, which may or may not be a pen name. I didn't dig into that more. I feel like we never actually knew who that was. They have a track record. I do not, but they're all one-shots, so I don't know.
I believe the current prevailing theory is that it's a woman.
That was what I had heard, but I never knew if that was... Like, they have a Wikipedia page, and there's nothing on the Wikipedia page that says, like, this is a pen name or something, but, like, also it's a Wikipedia page, so who knows? Jujutsu Kaisen ran from March 2018 to September 2024 in Weekly Shonen Jump for 271 chapters across 30 volumes. We read the first 3 volumes, which is 25 chapters. The first volume of which dropped in English on December 2019, Volume 2 in February 2020, and Volume 3 in April 2020. The first Japanese volume dropped July 2018, so it's like a 6-month gap, which is like, compared to Naruto, like one of the things I feel like we look at from Naruto to this is like how much quicker we get everything.
Yeah.
Because there's not as much of a lag time. They know sooner when something's a hit, they'll bring it over quicker. But there is still the lag time of this needs to be successful enough to warrant us printing a volume.
Right. Whereas now we get everything immediately.
But we don't get it physically. We get it digitally.
Yeah.
Because probably digitally we got day and date, because I feel like we were getting that for the most... Actually, I don't know if that what Jujutsu Kaisen at that point.
I don't think it was doing that back then.
No, but these are the physical releases, admittedly. Okay. I mean, there's stuff running in Jump that's been running a long time. Like, I don't know if with the anime out, but like Witch Watch I don't think is physically released in the West at all.
Yeah, I think that might have been the one. I know there was one. It
could be now.
There was a big one that it was like, people were saying, like, I can't believe this doesn't have a volume out yet.
Yeah, I could be that. I don't remember. Maybe with the anime, if the anime is successful.
I'll tell you what, and we're going to get into this more later, but you mentioned 271 chapters?
271 chapters across 30 volumes.
That's honestly crazy to me, considering how much was in the first 25 chapters.
Yes, it is. My notes is mostly just me trying to mark down both what happened and like little details that I know are world building bits. Yeah. So Just because it was something similar I did to Naruto, because I'm trying to like build this thing of how the speed of which this thing came up. So it starts in 2018. The anime starts in 2020, and I think that's when it's really starting to cook.
Yeah.
I don't remember when I see the anime in that time period. I guess it would have been... Did we watch season 1 together, or did I watch it by myself?
We started watching it together.
Okay.
Because you had been reading the manga already.
I don't think that's... No, I started watching the anime before I read the manga. I think watched...
Sure?
I feel like somebody... I don't remember if it was you guys, but somebody showed me the anime, because I don't think I would have seen it without... Because the name is so, like, whatever. It's such a whatever name when you think about it, right? Jujutsu, like...
I could have sworn you were reading it before, because you were talking about how far ahead you were.
I think I watched it either by myself or with somebody else before then. Before I brought it to you guys, and then I think I was reading it, and that's when we watched it. I've seen season 1 like 3 times now.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's when I watched it, then we watched it, and then I watched it with somebody else showing them it. Like, I've seen it with a bunch of different people. But it's interesting. The anime started 2 years later, and has 2 seasons and a movie out, and I'm assuming is still running. I don't know why, unless something horrible happened to that company that made it. Which, admittedly, they're grinding their workers into dust, so I can understand that. But like, I don't. Even if it's not that studio, I think we're going to get more Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, the anime is incredibly popular, so...
Yeah. I mean, this is one where I don't think... It was before I think we were doing the podcast, and before I was keeping up with what was in Shonen Jump so much.
Not too much before.
No, but I don't think I had heard about this until somebody told me about it. Like, it just wasn't on my radar, but I don't think my radar was as tuned in as it is now with what's going on in Jump and related to it.
Because we have talked about Jujutsu Kaisen on the podcast before.
I'm sure, like a billion years ago.
I think it was one of the earlier episodes.
But what, 7 years from start to finish, and in those 7 years, almost 300 chapters, 2 seasons of anime with more coming, and a movie, I think is pretty impressive.
I did.
There's also a video game, but I've never played it. And when I looked at the supers, it looked very cheap. It looked cheaper than the Demon Slayer one, which the Demon Slayer one I got to see the supers for. It was like lavish.
The movie is a prequel.
Yes, correct.
And the prequel chapters are out there and available.
Yes. We specifically, I have this marked down. We did not read the decimal chapters. If I understood that correctly, these were written as a different series by Gege before JJK and folded in.
Oh, really?
That was my understanding of what I had read. It was then called Jujutsu Kaisen 0, but they had written that before they started writing Jujutsu Kaisen.
We talked about Jujutsu Kaisen.
We did, because we saw the 0. We saw the movie, and then we probably talked about it on the podcast.
It was our 5th episode.
Wow.
April 4th, 2022.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wild. Wow, how long we've been following this. But no, Jujutsu Kaisen's definitely one that we've seen the rise of. It started heating up, like a year or 2 before we started. Like, I don't know when it popped off. Like, this is the thing, is like, it popped off in the West when I was paying attention to it, and I don't know what the scene was with it before then.
Yeah.
So, it's one where it's like, it's close enough that I'd be curious to know when it started cooking, or if it was specifically had to wait for the anime.
I mean, I think definitely by the time that we talked about it on the podcast, it was already very popular.
Yeah, I mean, they're already releasing volumes before the anime hit.
Yeah.
In America, not that much before it, but I think that's interesting, at least. I guess, do we just want to dive in then with... The summary is not going to be as straightforward as Naruto, because things are just like... I guess that's something to get off on the bat. Things are, from moment 1, stuff is just popping off and running in parallel, like, so fast. I feel like that came up a lot in mainline podcasts from years ago, is like me talking about like Jujutsu Kaisen as an anime, and I would say by extension the manga is not a good this is your first shonen story.
Yeah, probably not.
Because it moves at like Mach 4.
Well, that's the thing that I found really interesting, because I don't remember the anime feeling this fast. And maybe it's just because it's only 20 some pages per chapter.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's moving so much faster in the manga than it did with the anime. And maybe I'm just not remembering it correctly.
I think some of it is, I mean, again, as somebody who's now read the parts of the manga multiple times and watched at least season 1 of the anime multiple times, it's like once you know what's coming at you and you know where you're going, it moves past you, so because you're not spending time being confused. You know what's happening. So you're just like, oh my gosh, things are whizzing by my head. Stuff that I didn't know was references, and seed planting I now know are seeds. Like, it's insane.
I mean, I only watched the first season once. And I really, it felt, reading this now, it felt like very true to the manga.
Because we've read 25 chapters. I want to say season 1 of the anime is 12 episodes. And we got, right. 25 chapters got us, I should have checked that. I think we are maybe halfway through the season. Because we get from the start.
We might be a little bit more than halfway.
Nope, because we still things that happen in the anime in season 1 that we have not finished. We have barely touched the surface of the fight with what's his name, the human curse, Mahito. So we haven't even finished that yet.
Mojito.
We still have a mojito, a mint drink. We have the entirety of the Goodwill event, which is fairly long, and then I think the anime season ends with I don't even know what to call it. It's the like painting of the
right here. I can
painting it like the devil womb painting something or other with the curse at the bridge.
No, that's either course 2 or it's
Nope, that's season 1. That's the end of season 1. I know it. I 100% know it. I've watched it 3 times.
Okay. Yes, I have information here. So season 1 is 2 cores.
Oh, really?
24 episodes.
Okay, I thought it was 12. That's my bad. How deep are we into it?
It looks like, so at chapter 25, we're about episode 11.
Yeah, we're about halfway.
Right, but that's like the end of the first part of the first season.
Okay. So
because they came out separately, yeah. You think?
I think they were both out by the time I got to it, and that's why I didn't have a concept of them being split. Because I know season 2 in my mind is the Gojo flashback episodes, and then it's the Shibuya incident.
Yes, and that is correct. That is season 2,
and that came out as a whole.
Did it?
To my knowledge,
I think there were a few weeks between.
There could have been, but we were behind. So
yeah, I don't think they came out all together, but it wasn't as far apart as the first season.
Yeah.
Cores
are confusing, but I'm fine with it if it keeps budgets high. That's an episode I want to do in the future, just in general. But no, literally from moment 1, Jujutsu Kaisen is on its own bullshit, and I mean that both in an admirable way and like a oh my gosh, what are you doing way. And maybe some of that secondary feeling is shaped by hearing what happened to it as it went on. Because like instantly, because the basics of the first chapter, without all of my specific notes, is I already have on the opening splash the entire the quote unquote the 4-man squad is there. We see Gojo, we see Fushiguro, we see Yuji, and we see, I never remember her name correctly. Fushiguro's the dude. Who's the lady? Nobara, whatever her last or first name is. Nobura. So we see them in the splash page. So like unlike Naruto where it's like we don't meet the crew until chapters later. Moment 1, everybody's present. If not in scene, visually.
Technically, we don't meet them right away.
No, we actually meet Fushiguro.
Fushiguro is first.
Yes.
He's the main character, as far as I'm concerned.
He's very main. He's real main character at times. So it's that he's there to hunt. We know later is a Sukuna finger, which we'll get into Sukuna later. And Yuji's just in school. He's in the occult club, but he's supposed to be doing track. He seems nice. He's very physically capable. And then I guess the club has the finger as like an occult object.
Yuji Itadori might be my favorite shonen protagonist.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I feel like he's just the perfect balance.
He's just a dude
of stupid,
but more than that. Yeah.
But also like sort of on it.
I guess when you
he knows what he's about
as a vessel, which is funny because he is a vessel. Yeah. As a vessel, I dig him in that way.
Yeah,
I guess he lacks. I feel like he sometimes lacks more of a flavor to him.
See, I don't think so. I think he's got some nuance to him.
I don't know if it's better or worse that he's not protag. Like, he's got protag-y bits, but he's not like Fushiguro feels more like a protagonist in the classical sense.
Yes.
Like, he has more going on in the world, and Yuji is very...
And he's an edgy boy.
Yeah, but he's not too edgy. He's Sasuke, but he's not.
Yuji is like, he's got that sweet boy thing, but also he's not getting pushed around because of it.
No, he stands up. I mean, he can punch really good.
That's a prerequisite.
Yeah, but it's weird. Like, in all the time that I've spent reading Jujutsu Kaisen, which I didn't finish it. I did not get near the end. I stopped reading years ago because I'm like, the anime is better. I'll take it in like that. Because my brain was just like, I can't follow these fights. I'm too stupid. I never learned about his parents. It's wild. I specifically wrote down, we are introduced to his grandfather, and he is dead in 3 pages.
Well, they specifically mentioned in one of the later chapters that we read for this, he never knew his mom.
Yeah,
and his dad died when he was very young.
Yeah, like they're super like, but
so he was raised by his grandfather.
They're super cagey about the parents, which feels so important, and like I don't think they were ever referenced in any meaningful way.
Oh, maybe
in the time, but admittedly, like you know me, information heads out of my brain on a quick basis. But it's like, it's just so strange. Where it's like he's super powerful. He can just throw a shot put like it's a normal baseball, like an insane distance. And we just rock with it. And I'm sure he has his, like, you can bullshit a reason, and if you just want to go, like, he's super powerful, let's move on. Like, he's just very physically capable.
Which I think is probably important later because, and we don't get into this in these chapters, but we find out later that humans can have incredible strength by making these, like, what is it, like a heavenly pact or whatever.
Heavenly pact, or it's like the idea, like, we have characters where it's like they have next to no cursed energy, but there's a sort of inverse to that. They're like physically blessed with a physical capability. I think Maki works like that. Yeah. Fushiguro's dad works like that.
But Yugi does have cursed energy, but he's also very physically
He doesn't have any spells really. But no, he's a part of the occult club. His grandfather dies, and he's like, do something.
His grandfather curses him by saying, help people.
Yeah, and he thinks about helping people like the entire part that we read. Fushiguro is trying to find the finger. There's a big fight. Yuji then eats the finger and Sukuna manifests, but he takes back control, which seems like a thing that shouldn't happen. Sukuna is this like lord of all demons, kind of sort of like he's an uber powerful demon curse that has been around. Or I guess they're curses.
He was a human
for a very long time.
He was like a Jujutsu sorcerer that like sort of turned himself into a curse.
Yeah, and he's like super powerful. He has 20 fingers. They're not his toes. Nobody's sucking on toes.
He's
correct.
Goro.
So the idea we have a.
They also say he has 2 faces, which I guess just means because he can like make a mouth appear in other places.
Oh, is that what that meant? Okay, I don't know. But then like it's just like, oh, Yuji can just take back control. Like Yuji is just sort of blessed with a bunch of abilities, and they kind of hand wave a lot of why he has the ability to do that.
Yeah, I gotta say one thing that the anime. I mean, you've already hinted at this, but the anime is better than
the anime is better. The art is better. The movement is better. The vibes are better because like. The Jujutsu Kaisen anime at times is genuinely really funny and has a really good comedic sense about it.
The first season it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, it got dark later, but that's not to say it couldn't do it. It's just that wasn't what the story was doing anymore. But
I think the manga is doing some.
I remember when I read the manga, it's not because it doesn't spend that time to have those moments,
right.
And because you don't have timing and voices, like it is just there's more little things they work in there that I think helps with the mood a lot more.
I will say
there is funny moments in the manga, but it's not. I don't think it has that vibe and charm as much as the anime gave to it, and I think it does add to it.
I want to be clear. I think the manga, at least as far as I've read,
is solid.
It's
fine,
but the anime is superior.
That's why I stopped reading the manga because I'm just like I'm going to have a better time watching this.
If you want to take in Jujutsu Kaisen, but you don't want to like dedicate the time to watching it. The manga is a fine way to take it in.
Yeah, but I think it works better in motion.
That said, the thing that the anime does way better than the manga is showing off Gojo.
We haven't even met him yet. Well, we're about to when we go to chapter 2.
Oh, so when you're talking about there was a big fight, you mean the monsters. Okay.
Yeah.
So we didn't get that far.
Fushiguro's fighting curses, and Yuji is kind of also there. Yeah, Curse gives Fushiguro a hard time, and Yuji punches it.
You know, they keep talking about how much of a genius Fushiguro is, but he just keeps getting his ass kicked over and over
But I think because he's constantly punching above his weight a lot. I think that's the idea. Because you have to remember, like, he's a freshman. He's a first year.
Yeah, but they were like, he started at grade 2.
Yeah, I guess you're right. They give him a big boost.
Yeah.
I think he just
by the
needs
way,
more.
there's 4 grades.
I know. There's a lot. There's so many structures.
I will say they do a pretty good job of explaining stuff.
Yes.
And as opposed to Naruto, where I was like, why are you explaining this to these kids who should have learned this in school?
Jack nothing constantly.
Yes.
He is a great vessel.
They all made sense.
A vessel.
Every time they were explaining stuff, it made sense. And on top of that, the one part where they're like, Yuji's like, why didn't anybody tell me that before?
Yeah.
And it's like, because Gojo's teaching you.
Yeah, that's what he does. It's Jujutsu Kaisen is really good at having a feeling of internal consistency. How much it has that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have not gone deep enough. But from here, at least, and I know when I originally experienced a lot of it, it constantly feels like it knows what it's doing.
Well,
but I don't know if it actually knows.
Now that I know, like, having watched the 2 seasons of the anime and the movie, there was so much stuff in these first chapters where I was like, fucking Leo DiCaprio meme.
I know this. I have a basic understanding, so when I come back around, I have a better understanding about what the fuck is happening.
There's so much stuff that they set up so early on. It's really, I mean, frankly, it's impressive.
Yes.
Which also, I think, is probably why everyone was so upset at the ending of it.
Because it constantly, I have even in this in chapter 1, and we didn't meet him, and will not meet him for ages. Zenin Senpai is mentioned.
Yeah.
Like, offhandedly, in chapter 1. And he's not a man that matters.
Zenin?
Zenin.
You mean Okotsu?
I don't remember who Okotsu is.
Because Zenin is Mai and...
yeah, the asshole with the mustache.
Oh, what?
I thought that's what they were talking about.
No, I think they're talking about the girl.
Okay.
Who is their senpai.
Oh, okay.
Because she's a year 2.
Okay. Maybe that was my misunderstanding of it. Because it's Fushiguro's from that family.
Right. There's so many of them.
True. I know. And that goes into it. Like, I think that's fascinating. Like, I think that's why that's kind of my thing with Jujutsu Kaisen and looking at it now is that, like, it seemed like it was planting so many seeds, and then it just sounds like at the end the author didn't plan to reap them properly and just lost drive or interest or any number of things. I don't know. I genuinely want to read. I think I read it to you, but I would love to be able to find the apology message they made, because it reads so, like, bluntly, and it's just like, what? How do they really feel? Because I have no idea. Japanese press releases are always so like. I don't know how much I can actually believe this, that a human being is actually feeling these things, or they're just having to say they feel it for face value. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. If I try to view chapter 1 as if this is something I read, this dropped in Jump, and I know nothing, there's no other chapters, there's no anime, there's nothing else, I have nothing to go on. I think this first chapter is kind of booty in a bad way. Booty,
really?
Parentheses, derogatory.
I was all about it.
Because we know things.
I mean, yeah, but
like
also
going back and if going back and reading it with knowing where we're going and and noticing the seeds it's planting and knowing some of those seeds get reaped, it's good to go back to it. But if I try to exit all out of my mind and I'm just reading it, we have a protagonist. A grandfather is entered and exited within 3 pages. He's super powerful. Like, it's moving so, it is just tossing so much stuff at. Like, we've had other ones where it's just like first chapters that are too much on their bullshit and trying to throw too much at you in too short a time, and it doesn't work.
See, I thought that,
but
yeah, there was
I had
a lot
good
of
time
stuff
reading this. But when I try to think about it, like, if I had no other context, I'm seeing red flags in here that I've seen with other series that didn't end up good and died.
See, I got the feeling that even though it was stuffed with a lot of things, I didn't feel like it was overstuffed. Because
we have a concept of what's coming at it because we've consumed this before.
Maybe.
And we know this pays off.
I can't really put it into words properly. I feel like I should be able to separate that in my mind. But you might be right.
I just think it was just, there were things that I saw in this that I'm just like, who is this guy? What's his deal? Grandfather's here. Grandfather's gone. We're doing this. Like, it just felt like it was on speedrun, and we've seen other first chapters of Shonen stuff speedrunning, and it's never a good idea. And admittedly, this one worked out well enough. And like I said, like I don't think it's a bad chapter in the continuity of things.
Well, and that's I do.
But I think if all we had was this first chapter, I would have been wary of this.
Given the first 2 volumes or so, I think it was moving very quickly, not necessarily in a bad way, but you could definitely get that hint of like, I think they're trying to get as much out as possible. So if it has to end, they can end it in a good spot.
I don't know when it finds its. This is one where it's like, at some point this finds its feet, and I don't know when. It happens within these 3 volumes, and maybe that's what we'll find. Let's move forward a little bit. Chapter 2, we meet Gojo. Holy fuck, it's Gojo. Like, duh. Like, he's going to be around forever, and I'm fine with that. Like, he can just go in the halls of anime forever.
The head aura farmer.
Yeah. Gojo claims to be the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer and fights Sukuna no problem for 10 seconds.
Nah, I'd win.
Yeah, I love him. He's so. I love that he's
a meme for such a long time.
I love that he's a wonderfully cocky character, and we don't learn this until later. I have it written down somewhere, like within the chapters we read. I love his thing is like, I could have just killed all of the Jujutsu Society's top brass, like literally in an instant. I could just literally turn them into blood dust, but that doesn't solve anything. Just more yahoos would show up, and the system would never change. Like, I like that he's specifically a teacher, so he can fix the system the right way, and I love that. But I also love it's just like, yeah, I could just fucking turn you into blood mist. Fuck you, I could just do that. And I love that just gives him this wonderful cockiness to all these like old systems. Like, you know, in today's day and age, I would love to be able to do that. But also being like, I'm on the quote unquote right way to do it. Of like, you have to, the way to fix society is to teach and bend the youth.
Yeah.
For good or for ill, admittedly.
It's too bad he's not a better teacher.
I think he's pretty solid.
The first fight that he has with Sukuna, like I said, I think in the anime, it's so good. It showcases.
It's iconic. It's as soon as you go there, you're just like, oh, it's fucking Gojo.
But in the manga, I think the first time you really get a sense of just how far away Gojo is from everybody else is when he fights Jugo.
Jogo, the volcano guy. We'll get there. Also, I didn't even talk about. So Yuji now having eaten the Sukuna finger is marked for death. Because they're like, you've done this. Like, we have to kill you. But it's like, I'm giving you a stay of execution by virtue of, if we feed you all the fingers and you retain control, we can kill you then. And because all the fingers are inside of you, we'll have completely gotten rid of Sukuna. Mm-hmm. Which I think is a good power balance. It gives you a thing to be doing when you're not doing other things, which is go get more fingers. It gives Yuji an easy ability to power up. Obviously, he's going to stay in control. Like, I think it's a good setup. Yeah, we learned Sukuna has 20 fingers. They have 6 in their possession now. Die now or eat all the fingers and die taking Sukuna with you. And then we go to the school. So chapter 3, we're already at the school then. We meet Principal Yaga, who already has his gimmick of he's like a cursed doll maker. And then we don't pay attention to that at all. I don't even think we learn we meet Panda later, but I don't think we learn that he's Panda, that he created Panda until like the Goodwill event. But we meet him, we see his gimmick, which then comes up later when a cursed doll punches Yuji when he's watching movies, which I think is interesting. Here is we get the Jennifer Lawrence line. I wrote that down. I love that's in the manga. Because Yuji just comes in and says that, which I forgot he says that. I always think that's Toto prompts it.
No.
But it's, again, a seed planted here and paid off later. We're living at the dorms. Next chapter, we go off to pick Nobara up, who's arriving in Tokyo. Chapter 4, meeting Nobara. She is very proud and confident, kind of judgy. Yuji and Nobara are sent into an abandoned building to deal with a curse. Nobara gets into a hostage situation she can't resolve until Yuji shows up to shake things up. She kills the curse with her straw doll. I think it's that one. I love it that Yuji just drop kicks through a concrete wall because he can.
He punches through it.
Yeah, it's great.
And then he's like, oh, I missed. Hold on. Boosh.
Yeah. We get a really quick whiff of Nobara's backstory about countryside ostracization and moving to the city. I think she meets somebody. I don't know if she's actually a witch or she's just witchy, that everybody like from the city, that the country folks are like.
And I couldn't remember if they did that in the anime or not.
I think we get that in the anime during season 2. We get it more in detail
because like
in, the Shibuya incident.
She did some of it. She went through some of it, and I was like, oh, I don't remember us getting this information this early.
Because we don't. It's very in passing. I don't think I would have noticed that unless now that I know that story, to pay attention to it going, woo, as it goes past our rearview mirrors. We're speeding through so much stuff. It is insane how much is clearly, seemingly in Gege's head. And it's just like, nope, we're moving forward. No time. A prison gets taken over by a curse womb. We meet the assistant manager guy, who I love that he's just like, what if a salaryman had to work here? Well, no, that's wrong. I'm wrong. He's not a salaryman. There's somebody else who's a salaryman.
Ishijin?
Yeah, Kiyotaka Ichichi.
Ichichi.
We learn about curse grades. I love it. What is it?
Poor guy. He's like the most punching bag person.
I love him, though. I feel like the thing knows that.
He's trying to do his best, and everybody treats him like crap.
There's so many interests, like, of all just the seeds, Jujutsu Kaisen is a machine for interesting ideas that even if the actual plot, the wheels are falling off, a weird, cool thing you didn't think about will show up at some point. Yeah. I think that's something that gets me. So the squad is sent to this prison that's been taken over by a thing. Gojo is away. So all they really have to do is get in there and evacuate the humans because they're not strong enough. It's like a special grade, which is like the top grade of curse. We learned that the building is a domain expansion, so we have a vague sense of what a domain expansion is, but they don't explain it yet. There's a lot of talk about, like, again, more of this thing of like, what are you living for? Living a life worth living a life worth saving, you know, what that all means.
And then Yuji just gets fucked up. His hand gets cut off, his fingers get cut off.
Yes, chapter 7. Sukuna, give me your strength or I die. No, give me control. No. So he's like on his deathbed and he's just like, I need your power, I'm gonna fucking die, but also I need to drive. Yuji has Fushiguro and Nobara retreat and then gets his shit rocked by the curse even more. Yeah, Yuji is going to die. In that moment, Sukuna takes over and goes to team up with the curse, but the curse fights him instead. Nobara is taken to a hospital, and Fushi wants to go back and to finish off Yuji because he thinks Yuji's lost control. Sukuna easily dispatches the curse and takes the finger from inside it. He exits the building and takes Yuji's body hostage, ripping out his own heart and eating the finger. I love that. I love that idea of just like, I don't need this fucking heart. I'm a curse. I'll just take it out here. And it's just like, if I swap back, he's toast. He's dead. Like, this is the thing of just like, at any moment, a in the moment interesting thing can occur. Seeds or no seeds. The way the story feels like it's moving shifts. And I feel like that was a strength of Jujutsu Kaisen when I took it initially, is like it follows the track of shonen battlers until it's just not. And it swerves in a way that it's just like, oh yeah, of course. Like it always, at least the moments I'm remembering that we've noticed, anytime it swerves, you're just like, oh, of course, yeah. Why not? I find it fascinating for that. Chapter 9, Fushiguro and Sukuna do battle, but Fushiguro is quickly dunked. We get a glimpse of Fushiguro's backstory. Yuji takes control again and promptly dies with no heart. Okay,
but you missed...
What?
You missed something very important.
Yes?
Right as Yuji is taking back control, Fushiguro's like, I'm going to fucking die. Sukuna's about to kill me. I'm going to pull out my trump card. Which we don't actually learn about until...
You're right.
Like the end of season 2.
It's insane. Yeah, again, like things that are just cooking there and it's like, nope, not right now. I'm just going to give you a brief glimpse. I guess in a way that like this is the Naruto thing that I like just listened to that episode today, is that sensation of, and I think that's why I liked Jujutsu Kaisen when I was taking it. It's just a feeling of an author having a bigger picture and just going, we're not going to spend time on that right now. I'm going to give you a little glimpse to let you know that it's in my head, fully shaped, fully formed, and painted, and that's not important right now. We're just going to go do something else.
It becomes a meme at some point, but like, I think this whole thing where Fushiguro is constantly like, I'm going to pull out Mahagora. I think that's what it's called. Like every time something happens,
it's exciting. Like that works in wrestling. I think a thing I always remembered watching wrestling growing up is like, a super famous wrestler, Ric Flair. Like when I saw him, he was already an ancient mummy and he was still wrestling. And every match, at some point, he would go up to the top rope like he was going to do a splash, and it never worked except like once. But that moment was awesome. But just over and over again, he's go, I'm going to do this big move, and it just never worked. And like you always hope it's like, this is the time he'll finally pull it out. This is the time the move will work. And like, that's exciting.
What's so interesting about that is that I don't think until we get to that point in season 2, we have any idea what he's doing.
But it passes by so fast.
Yeah.
There's so much.
It's like literally one panel of him going, 8 wheel something,
yada,
and then
yada.
and then Yuji's back.
Yep.
And so he doesn't do it, and it's like, what was that?
Genuinely, Jujutsu Kaisen is great on return viewing. Not even just that you can draw lines, but that because you have a better sense of what's happening moment to moment, you can slow down and actually take in the details because you're not having to take in the immediacy of what's occurring. And that is, I will give it, I've watched the first season 3 times. I don't have really an interest to watch it again outside of like clips that I enjoy, but like I definitely understood more every time. And I think there is a lot to understand and piece together and little details to notice that in the moment when you don't know other stuff, you would just go, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this was a seed that was planted and I just didn't know. Chapter 10, we're already meeting the big bads of the story. We meet all the major curses, and what's the human, not human's name?
Ghetto.
We have Gojo. We have
Ghetto.
Jogo.
Gege.
And Ghetto. And written by Gege. Some fucking Elden Ring bullshit.
Yeah.
Everybody's got these weird G names. What? Well, I don't even remember. It's been hot enough second. Everybody's got these very similar sounding names.
Oh, in Elden Ring, it's M names, I believe.
Is it M names? Do you remember what one of the names was?
Malaria and Melania and Malikia.
No, there's another one. It's like the big night guys you fight. They have all these G names.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
It's been a hot second. But again, at the speed we're moving, in Chapter 10, we meet a bunch of all of our major baddies we're going to be fighting for a really long time. So what? We meet Ghetto. We meet Jogo, the Earth one. We meet... I should have written their names down.
N something, isn't it?
Isn't it?
The flower one?
Yeah, we meet the Earth one. Hanami. Something like that.
Yeah.
And we technically meet the ocean one, but I don't think I noticed. Like, the ocean one is there.
I don't think they name them either.
No, the ocean one does not do anything. Like, I don't think I noticed them until, like, my second, if not third viewing, that they are there.
But, and this is another thing. So, at some point, and this is, like, chapter 22 or something, but I'm going to jump to it for a second.
Yeah.
Because this is relevant. They just hang out in the ocean one's domain all the time because it's a beach.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
In the anime, they show them at the beach all the time. Literally no indication that it's they're
not telling you
a domain.
There is so much going on. We were moving so quickly where it's like I'm trusting the reader that you're going to put this together. Like that's why it's like Jujutsu Kaisen. It feels strange knowing that the wheels come off, and Jujutsu Kaisen is a series of like, I'm too stupid to piece this together. I need somebody else to think for me.
I think
I'm stupid.
It's more obvious in the manga that it's their.
I think you see a door at one point. Yeah.
But in the anime, they're just at the beach all the time, and so it's just like, oh, they hang out at a beach. They transport to a beach or something.
Yeah.
But no, it's like it's the ocean one's domain the whole time.
The domain expansion,
yeah.
Which is like neat.
And the other thing was in the anime, the ocean one is there all the time, but it's so much more in the background than it is in the manga, where it's more.
You can see because it has to be in a singular panel, not moving, because it's a panel of manga, so like it's easier to spot, but it is still like in the background-ish. Like
we
I said, I didn't notice it for a while.
So much in the anime that when season 2, near the end of season 2 rolls around and it actually does something, it's like, oh shit, that thing's been here the whole time.
Yeah. But no, Chapter 10, wild. We meet all of them. We learn that they want to kill all humans and how they're going to go about it. In like what? I think it's specific. It's like, we got to get rid of Gojo. Here's this artifact we can do to contain him. A thing that will not be important until the Shibuya incident.
The prison run.
Like 100 chapters from now. Maybe not 100, but like along a lot of chapters.
Something interesting here. There's actually seems to be a sort of split in what their overall goal is. Because, like, some of them want to exterminate all humans, but then some of them just want to shift the balance of power. Because which I think makes more sense because curses can't exist without the human emotions.
I think when you have a lot of radical elements together, everybody's individual aims is similar but not the same.
Right.
I think because it's the idea of like, curses should be the real people. Humans are stupid.
Right.
But no, it's like in this chapter, we meet all of them. We actually see Yuji Jai from his heart being torn out. We meet Maki, Toge, and Panda, the upperclassmen, who are great. Panda is a panda. He's a cursed doll, but we don't know that yet. He just looks like a panda. I love his vibe in the anime. He's great. I love it in the manga because I love so much when they're training. Then it's just in the background. Panda is just throwing around Nobara.
Yeah,
and it's the funniest shit. It's the best. Maki's one of the ones that her cursed power is low. She literally cannot see curses without special glasses. But her
we don't get that explanation until like chapter 24. But she is very strong, so she uses cursed
She's so
tools.
Cool. Yes, I love her. And Toge can use cursed speech, but he uses lots of power, so he only speaks in what is it, rice ball ingredients?
Yeah, onigiri.
Yeah, and like, what a fun gimmick! Like, it's a thing that like, I don't know why it's in manga. Western media doesn't have it. It's just sometimes characters have weird quirks.
Yeah,
and I love that. And I'm sad. I don't know what that would look like. I don't know if I would recognize it if it happened in like in the same way where it's just like, it's like. He says rice ball ingredients. I know why he's doing it, but why it's rice balls is inexplicable. It's like inexplicable, but I like it. It's fun. It's like this weird little bit of character that you get to play with and other things, even though it's not necessarily that important.
I think the way that works is that he can use nouns because they aren't like...
Oh, because they're not action words.
Right.
People seem to have a vague sense of what he's talking about when he says them.
And that's what I've never understood, even from the anime.
I think that's
like,
just funny.
Do people understand what he's saying? Or is he just using that to be like, I would say something here if I could?
Listen to the tone of my voice. I don't remember if they ever know specifically. Especially doesn't come up in these chapters.
Yeah.
And also in this chapter, we learn about the Kyoto Sister School Goodwill event, a thing that we're not even going to get to in these first 3 volumes, which is wild to me. There's, again, how much, like, all the major curses, we're just not going to deal with them in these chapters. The Kyoto Goodwill event, we're not going to deal with it. We're going to be planting seeds. Like, later you'll see we meet some people.
Gojo almost kills
but,
Jugo.
like, the bigger, like, the whole, like, we need to stop him, like... getting the curse box and all that, the prison box. Like, there's just a bunch of things that need to happen that we talk about and then we don't do anything with for a while.
Here's something,
but not in a way that it feels like we're ignoring them. It just like constantly feels like, okay, we're doing this, we're doing that. Like it feels like seeds planted.
There was one thing that I can't tell if it's a plot hole or if I missed something, because
welcome to Jujutsu Kaisen.
They Ghetto is talking about like, oh, I can't be seen, I can't let them know I'm here. I don't want to leave my residual energy here. Like, he needs to stay hidden. But then they talk about the incident that happened previously. I forget what it was called, but they talk about, a cursed user, Ghetto, did this thing and released all these curses. And I'm like, oh, I thought they were supposed to not know that he was around. Like, what's...
I think they don't want him... he doesn't want to be known that he's around at that point. I think in that moment he's trying to be stealthy. He doesn't want to start anything right now, but he did then. Unless I'm not understanding the time scale.
I just figured it out. That was when he died. That incident at the end of that. Because that's the end of the prequel.
Yeah. Yes, correct. Because he's not... I mean... in a way that I think we learned in the anime, he's not himself. I don't remember if you learned that or not. That's a spoiler. Okay, it is a bigger spoiler.
Yeah, at the end of season 2, we find out.
I couldn't remember if we learned in season 2 or not, but I think we do.
Why does he have that thing on his forehead?
Yeah, I know. I love that it's there. Again, I would love to... I want that mother and son duo that's reading One Piece. I want them to read this because I want them to put their brains together to get all these seeds. Like, right now they're fucking reading Berserk, which sure cool, fine. They did read Undead Unluck, which I enjoyed, but they're done with that. And maybe what? Drock, yeah. Maybe when they finish Berserk. It's never been on their list, but I genuinely would love them to read Jujutsu Kaisen.
Just call them. Tell them to do it.
I tried calling them and get them on the podcast, but we're too small time. Or they're too big time. I don't even know. They're not even that big time. They're Canadians. Canadian? I guess it's... Remember that old video?
No.
We filmed in my apartment about the... Shoot, what was it? I think it's somebody gets isekai'd, but it's like they're horrible. But also you did a Canadian accent for some reason, so I'm like, oh Canadian, that's weird.
That video that we did. Yeah.
I need to go find those. There's some good videos we made back then.
Check out our YouTube channel. I think that was a short.
I think it's a short. We made a couple of shorts. Okay, back on track. Yuji makes a deal with Sukuna to be revived where he can take control. I love this. He can take control for a minute. Like, everything's so specific. And then they give you reasons later why everything is so specific when it comes to curses and Jujutsu sorcery.
I don't think he can take control for just a minute until they make a deal.
Correct, yeah. But that's like, he's trying to present the deal as that, and that also, when he takes the deal, Yuji will forget that he had made the deal in the first place.
Right.
Yeah, we learn about Gojo plans to educate people rather than kill everybody to fix the problem. Yuji revives. The ceiling of Gojo is presented. Yuji goes on a mini training arc with Gojo. We more formally learn the power systems of Jujutsu Kaisen. I didn't get into that. That's not what we're talking about. Yuji trains by watching movies because curse power is based on emotions. So it's about being able to maintain power while he's feeling all sorts of different emotions. Like, I think that's a fun training sequence because it's like, oh, they're just watching movies. Like, there's moments that like feel very human in Jujutsu Kaisen despite all these like insane things happening. Gojo fights Jugo, the volcano earth curse. Gojo jobs out Jugo, and we learn about his infinity power. Gojo brings Yuji to the fight to learn domain expansion. The high-level curses escape before Gojo can exercise Jugo, and they regroup for what to do next. Mai and Toto show up from Kyoto, the Kyoto school, and talk shit. Everybody starts to brawl. Toto is a freak beast. They put him over super strong. Again, I feel like more things because they're the same thing of Gege understands pro wrestling. It's like, what do you need to do things to put over the new Haas. It's like, well, I've never seen him in the indies. What did he do? Why is he impressive? And it's like, oh, in this Night of 1,000 Curses, he like killed a bunch of them single-handedly.
Yeah, including
and that was years ago.
He didn't use his power until he had to fight the special grade.
Special grade. And because he's a freak beast. He didn't use what's it called?
Boogie Woogie.
Boogie Woogie. Spoilers, we don't even get to that. We don't even get to any of that.
Not even close.
Not even close, because we're not at the Sid Goodwill event, but we're this early moving these pieces around. He's a freak beast. The other Tokyo students finally show up and break up the fight. I think it's even in the manga. I don't think I noticed as much in the anime. When they're talking about the upperclassmen for Tokyo, you see the dude from the prequel movie. Yes.
Which we didn't in the anime.
And I swear we did because it's in the manga.
I don't think we did.
In the manga we do.
Yeah, in the manga. Yeah.
But why wouldn't we see it in the anime? We see another upperclassman who I don't even think we've seen in the anime yet.
Yeah, the third year. They keep mentioning the third year.
Yeah.
Although they say the third year, and then later they're talking about the Goodwill event and the fact that
there are fourth years.
There's 4 years, but
I don't
only
think I've ever even heard a fourth
3,
year mentioned outside of that.
Right,
and maybe there just isn't one because the school's small and weird. I don't know.
Only the first 3 years can take part in the event because I guess the fourth years are like, and maybe it's just maybe they're all dead. Maybe there's no fourth years because they keep getting killed.
Do it. The girls continue trading barbs. Toto needs to go meet his idol at a meet and greet. Like, I love that he's just this freak beast and also just a freak, where it's just he's super into his idol that he follows, and it's just like, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, Toto is just such a wonderfully strange character, and this is even before. I don't think I can separate myself from when he teams up with Yuji to fight Hanami. Like, that is one of the greatest moments of anime.
Yeah.
I can't help myself. This is where we learn Maki has no curse energy and fights exclusively with cursed tools. Gojo speaks very bluntly to the much older Kyoto school principal about trying to kill Yuji. I don't know if that's ever confirmed. Isn't it the idea of like they sent Yuji out to the prison thinking it would kill him, or was there something else he was doing?
Yeah, and because they talked about that a little earlier, and I think the conclusion they came to is they didn't know that it was going to be a special grade. They thought it was just powerful.
But did they believe it? Because they actively during the Goodwill event, which we learn later, not in these first 25 chapters, he sets a set of the students off to attempt to kill him in the chaos or get a special grade curse that is there to kill him.
Yeah.
Like they're still trying to. At the end of the chapter, we see warped humans at the movie theater and see our main players for this upcoming arc, a teen in a special grade curse who's Junpei and Mahito. We spend more time with our school student Junpei and see him being bullied, and the special grade curse appears and kills them horrendously. Yuji and Nanami, the business sorcerer, are sent to investigate. Nanami rules. Nanami is literally one of the greatest characters in all of anime. Changed my mind.
Nanami.
Is it Nanami or Nanami?
It's Nanami, but...
he said Yuji says Nanami as like a cutesy name, as a pet name.
He says, "Don't call me Nanami Sensei. I'm not your teacher." And then Yuji is like, Nana mean. As like, yeah,
he's
a
nicknaming
nickname.
him. Yeah.
And he's like, I'll kill you.
Yeah, stop doing that. We learn about Nanami's critical hit powers and the idea of, again, like there's two different things that he's related to him that are like, these are some of the best things in manga of all time. And also this is like super Hunter x Hunter, like so much. The idea of telling somebody the rules of your power makes them stronger.
Yeah.
It is one of the things I love about Jujutsu Kaisen. It's one of the things I love about later Hunter x Hunter is that, because it's a thing that I believe about life. Your thoughts about things and your beliefs shape reality in ways, and I love that that's here. It's like, because you understand it, it kicks in more. I think that I argue for this in life is just like, you feel different on a Monday than a Friday. I think even if you exit the 9 to 5 weekly thing, I think you still feel Mondays and Fridays.
So, and I think we need Ben for this because this is something he's talked about before, related. Maybe that was a Patreon episode, wasn't it? They covered the.
Is this a Words About Books thing?
Yeah, it was the Satanic Bible, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he talks a lot about the concepts of magic.
Yep, left-hand magic and right-hand magic.
In the real world, and like ritual magic.
Yep,
and it's like,
that's what I'm about, yeah.
Yeah, it's not actually doing something in the world, but
it is.
By doing those things, you get yourself in a certain space so you can perceive things differently than you would.
As a ritual, as a celebration, we went to go get ramen at a special, more expensive place. We got drinks and clinked glasses. Like, that was a ritual. And you know what? That night was magical. I don't want to bring this into the podcast, but like genuinely like one of the, a form that you can experience literally right now in real time and have already been experienced for way too long of quote unquote left-hand chaos magic of shaping reality is see our current political situation, see humans shaping reality for other people's perceptions despite not doing anything in scenarios.
Yeah.
They are literally, by force of will, they are shaping a reality that is not real, but to people it becomes real, and thus it is.
Yeah.
That is the magic of chaos. That is left-hand chaos magic. And I love seeing that in Hunter x Hunter and seeing in Jujutsu Kaisen, but taken to the next level of there is actual like magic right. powers here, and the concept of conceptualizing things fits into that. And that goes into my other favorite thing that's even more Nanami specific, not just him telling you about it. We learned about Yuji's divergent fist, so when he punches things, he hits it, and then his cursed power flows like a wave after it, which is just like, again, a cool little idea that happens. Yeah. That's like neat, that gets in his fights. We learned that earlier those weird messed up things were not curses, but transmogrified humans, which is really effed up. Our boy Junpei and special curse Mahito. We learn about our chat. We learned that special grade curses are based off of major fears of humanity. Mahito here is born from hatred between people. It's very Chainsaw Man. I mean, I don't think it was inspired by Chainsaw Man. I think it's just something in this, like, I'm sure neither of them did it first. I think it's just generally in the air. But I think that's neat. Yuji goes to talk to Junpei. I think they're like trying to interrogate him, but Yuji's just such a chill guy that they kind of become friends. This is happening while Nanami is fighting Mahito in like the sewers. The thing I was talking about, one of the greatest buffs of all time in manga anime history, the fact that Nanami is working overtime now means he is stronger because he is a salaryman, and like, yes. I love that. I love, again, it goes into that ritual stuff. Because he works on I'm working 9 to 5, you've asked me to work beyond that, and I'm outside the bounds. I'm not getting paid, but by virtue of that, I am more powerful because I'm in fucking overtime now, and fuck this. And even if it doesn't really matter, as a concept, I love that so much. Nanami comes out on top and escapes without confirming that he had killed Mahito, who doesn't. Also, he like regenerates. Yuji and Junpei start hanging out while they question him. They connect over movies. The two boys and Junpei's mom have a pleasant dinner together. And the next night we learn that a special grade curse has killed Junpei's mother, specifically including a Sukuna finger. And that is where our
I don't think it was special grade.
I think a Sukuna finger. I think
the Sukuna finger lured the...
Yeah, I think anytime I think about Sukuna's fingers, it's like we're doing special grade stuff, but I guess if they just place the finger there. Oh my gosh, so much happened.
I mean, technically, the end of chapter 25 is Junpei is going to he's gonna kill that one kid, and
Yeah.
Yuji bursts in.
Yeah, please do not do that. That principal, that teacher sucks.
Yeah,
Like, it's like, Junpei's kind of right. It's like, you've never experienced life. Like, you are just a child. You stayed in the system, went back in. It's like, not wrong in certain ways.
and I think so. We didn't get the full backstory for Junpei yet, but I think that
get enough of them
principal
being-
knows about the cigarette burns.
Yeah, that's why he sucks.
Yeah, but he kept going like, "Oh, they're your friends, right?"
He's such a limp wrist about it because he doesn't know how to do conflict because he's just
Right.
been a child his whole life. Because he went from the system and now he's in the other part of the system, but he never like experienced life and grew as a human. I don't know. It is insane to me how many mini arcs, like arcs that are set up in the future, because it's like the Goodwill event has now been prepped, but we don't do it. We haven't started. We haven't even finished the arc we're in now. Like, there are chapters that are just like, this is an arc's worth of things that feel like they're happening.
Yeah.
But also we're doing another arc at the same time. It doesn't feel like, oh, everybody's doing things, but it's somewhat part of the same arc. Like, we're just moving so many pieces across the board, planting so many seeds. It's insane.
Yeah, but I don't think it doesn't feel rushed to me. It feels like it feels paced well.
I guess maybe that's something to get in here. A difference between feeling rushed and going fast, because this is a manga and an anime that feels like it is going so fast, and maybe it's also something that it's juggling, but it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't feel rushed. But I always feel like especially with the anime where you get people's personalities more, it's always something I wish we could slow down. Like that half an episode we play baseball, I love. Like this is genuine anime I would want filler. I think I said that at the time we were watching it. I think I believe that now.
There's a lot of series that I read where I'll read a chapter and I'll just go, what the hell was that chapter for? Nothing happened that didn't progress the plot. It wasn't nice and comfort. Like, this was a waste of a chapter.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's two sides to that, because you can have a chapter that's slow, but it gives you something either emotionally or world building or something like that.
It's constant world building. Regardless of what is happening in the main plot, there is constant world building all the time.
And that's the thing with Jujutsu Kaisen is like they're world building constantly, but also all of the various plots are moving forward in every single chapter. And are
interesting and become, like I said, like, I don't know. I think it's just when more people start showing up is when I feel like it really starts cooking. Because I feel like the first couple of chapters are good, but they're not like, oh, this is a big one.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Like, I don't think it's bad, but I think it takes a while to be like, once it starts, the world just starts kind of connecting to itself and not just like, we're pitching things out in the world, but we're not really paying attention where we're pitching them. Like, it's just that you need enough chapters to have a sense of the world. Like, first chapter, unless the gimmick is super strong, which is not here. It's a sorcerer. It's one of many Exorcist mangas that we've read.
But it was really one of the early ones.
I mean, early in the modern set. There's been Exorcist mangas for freaking ever. So I know, grain of salt.
But before, we didn't have 40 of them all at once.
Correct. We didn't get. We weren't paying attention to all of them.
It's probably the success of Jujutsu Kaisen that really set that off.
I think it was already going, because Demon Slayer started, I think, before and was already. I don't know if it was successful. I should have checked when Demon Slayer started related to this, because I feel like these are this.
I don't know if I would consider Demon Slayer an Exorcist. I guess it's close enough.
Yeah.
But even so, if it was Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, like, that's not enough. Like, in the past 3 years, we've had 12 of them.
True, we've had a lot. But, you remember the big ones, and the chaff just sort of fall away as a number if you remember them at all. That's true,
because that was, what you said, 2018. That would have been long enough ago that I would have had no idea.
Yeah. Maybe it's because I've had to consume it so many times, and even if I got some new stuff out of it every time, I feel like I've had a better time talking to you about it than I did rereading it. And really,
that happens a lot with you.
No, but and not that I thought it was bad, but I got more excited. I think that's because there's so many things going on, comparing notes about what's going on. Because there is so much stuff I cut out from my notes and just us talking about it. I mean, I guess we could even I feel like I spent no time with any of what the characters or their vibes or what they're thinking or feeling. I feel like I spent a lot of time with the Naruto episode. But it's just, I feel like this is one that is best. Well, is that I've consumed this opening segment between manga and anime 5 times now. And even if I caught new things, my brain gets bored. I need more novelty. It hasn't been long enough since the last time I've taken this in. I genuinely know what happens. But also I think it's just because there are so many seeds being planted, talking to somebody and comparing notes. This is not an anime I'd want to watch alone. I like being able to, because it's I could probably watch season 2 again. I don't think I'll want to because it'll be very depressing.
Yeah.
And it gets a little long in the tooth at times. It gets a little long in the tooth of manga as well. But it's just like there's so many interesting concepts popping off of seeds planted before, seeds planting into the future, concepts cross-referencing each other, things said in passing that become major things later. Like just such a sense of, again, a consistency of the world, and it makes the world building really exciting at literally every moment. And I think that's why a lot of people were disappointed in the end when it felt like the wheels were coming off and things weren't being paid out properly.
Yeah, so if anybody isn't aware of the controversy, so Jujutsu Kaisen ended, a couple of months ago at this point?
I want to say late last year.
Yeah.
2024.
So the ending of it basically turned into just Sukuna fighting one person after another for like 30 chapters.
Oh, weird.
It probably wasn't 30, but a bunch of chapters. It's just like
really long time
this person, and then the next person, and then the next person, and then finally he gets beaten, and then it's like 1 or 2 chapters of wrap up, and it's over.
Gege was done. Gege's been done for a while. It sounded like
it sounded like a lot of what happened was they just took what people were guessing was going to happen and just did that. Because it was the thing that was being talked about.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that part. Not that I paid attention of. I could have seen in a very Vince McMahon WWE of if people are guessing the swerve, that means you have to do something else, even if it's what makes sense in the moment.
And that doesn't seem what happened.
I think sometimes it's good to do the thing that makes sense to do because it makes sense to do it. But I think if you're constantly just trying to trick everybody and sometimes ignoring the thing that you should be doing to trick people at all moments, I don't think that helps either.
So I think what happened, what makes the most sense to me anyway, is that they got burnt out.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And even though they had a bunch of ideas of what they wanted to do with it, I think they probably got dragged out farther than they were originally planning because it became popular. And so their editors and producers or whoever were like, we have to keep going. You can't end it yet, until they got burnt out, and then they were just like, I'm just going to do what people want, which, as it turns out, people don't want what they say they want for a while. They like to have the twist. They don't want the obvious thing. So even though all those people were speculating, oh, I bet this will happen and that'll happen, when it did, they were disappointed because they had already guessed it.
I feel like that's going to be a little bit of what happens with One Piece. It's just like, well, this is where the pieces led, and if you weren't trying to like nth level it, you wouldn't have figured that out. But to change it at certain points, I don't know. I'd like to go there. Before you had said that, I thought it was going to be like a Mass Effect 3 moment where it's just like not all the wheat was reaped then properly in a way that people liked. I mean, I guess people can have that complaints about a lot of things, especially in anime, especially we have big casts. I feel like Naruto, where it's just like there's so many characters, it's like you can't. I think My Hero suffered from it. Is like not everybody can have that moment. Mm-hmm. You're moving too many pieces. One Piece is going to suffer from that. Like One Piece is. I mean, I come back to it as such an example because it's just such a freaking one in multiple lifetimes series. Like, again, it is literally the most successful manga of all time, numerically speaking. And, like, out of the gate, Gege writes how Oda is writing now, where it's just like, hi, I know my health isn't always the greatest. I am writing to know that you are smart enough to piece together things where I'm not so specifically telling you in the paneling. Like, you have to piece, like, there are actions missing in between that you can piece together, not in like a big mystery way, but it's like, you got to be on the ball. Like, I don't have time to make more of these panels just to explain this. Like, I'm going to hope that you're paying attention because everybody's been showing they're really paying attention. And like Gege wrote like that out of the gate of just like I thought about it a lot when you were talking about when they were in the Umi, the sea curses domain. And it's just like, hey, follow that. I gave you all the pieces to get there, you might not, but like, I don't have time to, there's no point for setup. I have things I want to be doing. Mm-hmm. And where it seems like Gege like burned out, oh gosh, I brought up the quote. I wanted to read the big write-up about what they wrote afterwards. And they just like, it is so wild to me. I'm going to read this now, but it is so wild to me before I read it, because I've read it before, of like, this is a human being that made one of the most popular manga of the current era, that has sold hundreds of thousands, that has made one of the greatest anime that we've had in recent memory. However you feel about season 2 and its depressingness, it was still a really impressive thing that was put together. And just hearing, like, if you think you have mental health problems or that you think just that one thing will make you feel better, remember, this is one of again, numerically speaking, one of the top manga artists of the modern era, especially in Shonen Jump. And I never know how much of this is the face thing. I don't know how much of this is the English translation of whoever localized it, but it seems put together. The product, Jujutsu Kaisen, was pissed out for 6.5 years, nearly 7 years, if you include the serialization of the special issues. And what I learned was I really am an idiot. I was, of course, pushing myself to the limits to pull out everything I could for my creation. And after about 3 years of serialization, my already rough personality began to become absent-minded. Even though I was complaining that I'm fed up with having things pointed out to me that could be figured out by looking it up on the internet, I still made the mistake on volume 18 with the sand pen and end up thinking, like Gecko Moria, that, well, if something happens, the people around me will figure it out. I've also been writing the openings for 6.5 to 7 years through instincts. But what this means is that the adults around me were just that reliable. I have really greatly troubled all of my editors. He says their names. I'm not going to repeat them because I'm going to mess them all up. The volume manager and my assistants. Speaking of being a trouble, I believe I put quite a bit of stress every week on the editorial department and everyone at the printers. I really apologize greatly for that. Jujutsu began running with my first editor, and we immediately entered an underground forced labor arc, but he periodically communicated with me. Thank you, and I'm grateful for meeting you. The reason I did not talk much in between the volumes was because I had become absent-minded. When first becoming serialized, I took into consideration that Jujutsu Kaisen was being serialized in a major magazine. I had this feeling of trying to do my best to alleviate those who would read Jujutsu Kaisen and feel hurt, and those who would be hurt by those who read Jujutsu Kaisen. The result of that was me telling myself, shut up, I get it, you just want to be seen as a good person, and hurting myself. So I stopped trying that. To begin with, that very idea was prideful, and I understand now that it was due to me lacking the conviction to put my created work out into the world.
Hey, real quick. That's interesting that they're saying that because there's specifically a page at the beginning of or end of one of the chapters where Mai is like, has grabbed Nobara.
Yeah.
And Nobara is like making a comment about, what was it? Was it her weight or something like that?
Probably.
Insulting her. And then there's
her
this
outfit.
Yeah. And then there's this big, long write-up about, like, you shouldn't be mean to other people. Words can hurt.
Yeah, it comes out and it's like, or I think it's an in-between chapter one. It's like, they insult each other because part of this is mental, but, like, please don't do this. And it's just like, between reading that and reading this, it's just like, and seeing the series they wrote, and it's just like, who is this person?
Such a different person.
I don't understand this. Like, I will never like, on a number of things, not even literally just they live in Japan and we'd have no reason to interact. Like, I mean, there's a language barrier. Like, I will never understand how this human operates. And I'm just whatever. This is embarrassing, but even now I do not fully have that conviction. When considering evil intent that doesn't exist, I still want to shout out loudly, but the root cause of it is my immaturity as a mangaka. So I hold it in, or rather, I continue on a condition where all I can do is swallow it down. The good thing about Shonen Jump is that the brand image is built around not the creator, but the created work. And so, by trusting myself to make it so that readers can read my manga without worry, I will take lessons of these 7 years to heart. And I want to overcome my problems after this. I have books packed that I bought during serialization, some for study, some just to have around because they might make me smarter. In truth, I do feel like they made me smarter just by having them around, even if I didn't read them. It's scary. This is the end of Jujutsu Kaisen that I have drawn. To everybody who supported me, to the people who read it, to eat it all at once when it became topical, to those who read it wanting to see what came after the anime, to the person who just happened to read this final volume, any reason is fine. I truly thank you until we meet again. And it's just like, I don't know how much is that of themselves, how much of this is the normal eating crow, saving face thing that, you know, that is a Japanese culture thing. Maybe, I don't know, I could be calling on my ass there a little bit. Like, I've seen those press releases where it just seems like a lot of words, but it's just like, how do you have such a toxic inner voice and write something this so emotionally, like, humming at a different frequency than most things in Jump? And also so world-building, interconnected, so high-level ideas that make my brain spin. Like,
I read it that they are a different person from when they started.
I guess so. I don't know. Like, the thing that I wish I could have a supervision on the localization. It's just the phrase "I became absent-minded" is just such a, like, what is that? What do you specifically mean by that? And, like, I don't know I don't know if people would argue that things started falling apart when I stopped reading. Like, there's stuff I forgot about that I'm really excited to see in the anime that I haven't thought about in a while. There's a thing I think I've talked about to you years ago between Maki and her sister and all the Zenin household that is like, if we get there and it's animated well, like, it's one of the greatest things ever, and I'm excited about it. There's a character who is just who I would want to be in the Jujutsu Kaisen world, who is he's a shitty comedian. He's not good at it. He's not like a shitty person. He's just really bad at comedy. He's not funny. But his whole power, his cursed power that manifests in him that he's not aware of, is that he's literally a joke character who can do anything as long as it's funny. And he can just show up and do silly things and then disappear, and then I never saw him again, and I don't know if he comes back. I think he comes back at some point. I don't know, but it's just like, again, it's just like you're doing other things, and then this like random human story of like this failed comedian gets this superpower while having like a killing game, and it's just like, this is just an incredible idea that could be a tentpole in something else, and it's just on the river passing by while we're doing other things, and just how many times things mechanically are set up, and again, a very Hunter x Hunter way. I don't know if you ever got to later Hunter x Hunter. But like Hunter x Hunter has so much like little mechanical clockwork stuff in it that it seems like the writer really likes writing.
I've seen the whole page of dialogue.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that current arc. We're never getting off that boat. Anybody who thinks we're getting off that boat is insane. We're never getting to that dark country or whatever the heck it's called. I don't even remember now. It's been years since I read it. Caught up. Well, I'm not caught up anymore because I'm like, fuck it, whatever. But it's just like, I like having a manga every now and then that has such that little clockwork world of mechanics and like this and that they just seemingly pull on strings effort. Like, I can't juggle that all in my head, but I'm impressed by it. And I look to people who can to go like, is this checking out for the most part or not? So I feel like from moment one, Jujutsu Kaisen is on its bullshit. Parentheses respectfully. Parentheses in awe. Parentheses. It's weird how it shook out, and maybe one day we'll get to the end of the anime and we'll have watched it and have whatever feelings we have about it. But
I definitely enjoyed reading these first three to the point where, I mean, especially because the end of the third volume ends on a bit of a cliffhanger with the Junpei stuff.
Yeah.
I was definitely like, I could keep reading this. I could definitely continue to read this, and I think I would enjoy it. I'm just gonna go watch the Goodwill event again because I could watch that Goodwill. Yeah. The Goodwill event is like one of my favorite things. And I say that even with the having already said the anime is superior, you should just watch the anime.
Yeah.
There was something about, I don't know. This is with most things where there's a manga and an anime. The manga allows you to take things in at your own pace.
Yes, I was just going to say that. The manga, you watch the anime and then you read the manga as the companion piece so you can catch those little details because you control the speed. The anime is, there's no, like, you can pause, but like there's not really any stopping.
But that's the thing is, like, when you watch an anime, the speed that it goes is set by the director, right?
Well, I think in Jujutsu Kaisen the speed it goes is set by the manga also.
Well, yeah. But I mean, like, the pacing of any individual
goes by
scene
quickly.
The pacing in any individual scene is set by the director, right?
Yeah.
Input from whoever, but just for the sake of simplicity, the director. Whereas in the manga, you read it at the speed that you want to read it at. And the mangaka can put hints of things and do flow through panels and everything to give you a certain sense of the speed that things are happening. But it still comes down to how quickly you are putting it into your brain. And I think watching it in an anime in the speed at which someone is saying this is the speed it goes, it gives you a sense of the pace that it should be, like that the events are happening for real. But it's just a different way to consume when you are in control of that speed. And I think it gives it's not better or worse, but it's
different from the medium. It's the thing of if he was there or not, the picture of the upperclassman that's from Zero. When you see it in the manga, it's like you can take that moment, and when you're reading the manga, you can see it and go, who's that? And stop and spend a moment to think about it and internalize it. But in the anime, there's too many things going on. He can show up for a couple frames and then disappear, and you don't have time to internalize. And I don't think that's That is in no way like a judgment of good or a bad call. It's just the different. Like, I think more than anything else, and also forming in more of my thing of like reconsuming these opening things lets me notice these small details in the way they connect together to other things and just sort of understand things better because I've had more time to simmer on them. Watching the anime and then reading the manga of the anime you just watched like a little bit later, I think it works like a little companion piece because it lets you sit and simmer on things. It's like, okay, like again, my reading this, I know where we're going, I know what happens, and now I get to notice those little details and I can get a better understanding. Going, I don't know what's going on, but it seems like it's whatever. And it's like now I understand domain expansions more or cursed energy more than I did the last time around, and that gives me a better understanding. It feels like it's a series, at least from what I've taken in, that pays you for paying attention to the details.
Yes, definitely.
Is there enough cool bullshit popping off that you don't always need to be? Yes, I'm stupid. There's so much stuff that goes over my head, and I constantly have that sensation that there's things that I'm missing. But I still have a good time, and then when I go back, I feel like I take that much more from it.
I think you might have hit it. Watch the anime. If you've never experienced this before, watch the anime.
Yeah.
Take that in because it's a cinematic masterpiece. And then go read the manga and study it. Because you get so much more information.
Yeah, you get the best of both worlds.
Things out more.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me because like Naruto is my specific plot point to go to here because like it's hard not to see. It's like here's the school, here's the 3-man squad. Gojo is so like Kakashi feels like such a lineage line to Gojo. Like all of them feel like they have steps clearly from Naruto to Yuji is actually the fuzziest of the three of them. Sasuke to Fushiguro is just like your design, like your general emo boy. Like Fushiguro is way cooler than Sasuke because he's actually more of like a chill dude.
And Nobara is much more later Sakura.
Yeah, Nobara is if inner Sakura became outer and was not just a hashtag girl boss, but was like an actual like strong female character who I'm sad doesn't get as many moments as I'd like. But like I enjoy her that she gets to both be feminine and strong in a way that doesn't just come off as I'm writing shonen or girl boss energy. Maybe a little girl boss energy, but like in a fun way. In the owning it kind of way. So, but it's just funny that the Naruto Magnum was me going, everybody should slow down. Naruto is slowed down and it's really good. And this is one that's just like, fuck you. Here's 50 different things happening in chapter. Go, 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 go. I could not imagine reading this week to week. I don't know. This might be one that's better for it because there's so many things to cook on that's happening any given chapter
maybe.
Where it's like, I'm thinking about this. And it's not just like one action that rolled through. Like I don't know what like I burned through all of back when I was reading it. Like I burned through all of the Shibuya incident because the Shibuya incident, like most things are like 4 chapters at most or 5 doing anything in particular without bouncing around. And the Shibuya incident is like we've put the horse blinders on. We are in Shibuya. We are not leaving. We are maybe going to different characters every so often, but we are here. We are not moving through time. We are not moving through space. We are here for like 50 chapters, if not more. It's wild. I mean, what? It was more than half a season.
Yeah.
And even then, I think they cut things even if I don't remember what they would have cut. So,
if
we know down.
I'm getting this correct. Shibuya incident starts at...
Episode 7. I don't remember how many episodes.
Yeah, it's episode 32, but... It's 8.
8.
7 or 8 around there.
Okay.
And then continues to the end.
Which is how many?
Which
24?
is 40. It's the 47, so yeah.
About.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's huge.
I'd watch the movie again. I feel weird. I didn't think I was going to feel like that then, but it's like that was a good little way to take some of that in. I don't even know if the 3rd season's been announced, but it'll inevitably happen. There's too much money.
The anime has a rating of 4 on Crunchyroll of 4.9.
Yeah.
Out of 5.
You know who I saw when I drove by the anime con near where I live recently to pick up a friend for lunch? You know what I saw the most of any cosplay, admittedly, that I recognized? The first one I saw, Jujutsu Kaisen. I saw Yuji's, I saw Gojo's. I'm sure I would have seen more. Like, it feels like it fits that lineage. And I think I cooled down on it just because it's like season 2 was so depressing and everybody was down on the ending. But like talking about it, I'm genuinely like excited about it. I thought I was going to come into this and go like, the first chapter was kind of booty, but I also like and trying to fight more about not being affected by knowing that things aren't paid off well in the end. But I guess it's because I'm not there yet, and I pieced things together differently than other humans that I can just kind of float in the time now of like being excited about what we talked about here, what we already know about that's happened, and what's coming anime wise, and being excited about that. So Um, as a storytelling thing, I don't think I do still think Hunter x Hunter is more of a torch passer than Naruto is to this, and I don't think I would do a mag jump of Hunter x Hunter. I would do something different to it, because Hunter x Hunter doesn't find its feet for a long time. It's good, but it's not like, oh, this is why people are talking about it. I feel like I would just skip directly to Chimera Ant arc and just rock. Because, like, that's the thing. It's like, Hunter x Hunter takes time to be on its own bullshit. And when it gets on its own bullshit and the writer is just writing, like, this is what's in my head, this is what I'm doing, these are all the pieces I'm moving around the board, the concepts I'm playing with. And it's just wild to me that, just right out of the gate. I feel like the next, there's if I'm keeping this same path of research through these, I feel like there's two branches to look at right now. I want to see your thoughts on it, or if you have other idea branches, because I mean, it's not, at any point we can just leave this branch and just pick something else. Like, literally, we're beholden to nothing. But the two that I think of is, one is, and we talked about it a little, is Bleach, of another early 2000s big hit. Maybe not as much as Naruto, but like also like connected to this one, Gege cited Bleach as something they read growing up and was inspired by. And also just like that time period of, and it's one you were closer to than I was, and I'd be curious to go back to it and see what it did, because I don't really have a memory of it, even if I read it.
Yeah, I watched the anime, and in fact, the only part of the anime I haven't watched is the newest stuff.
Yeah,
which is, I think, 2 seasons.
And the other branch, which maybe not a Magnum, maybe the new style of Shonen jumping the gun that I don't think is going to be released at the time this is released, which I forgot what we're calling it.
A couple more weeks for that.
Yeah. Not quite yet, because I don't think we need 3 volumes of it. But just to as a companion piece to the Naruto one, especially this one, where like, here is an author coming out swinging, like already on their bullshit volume chapter 1, which is not normally how they work. Because normally it takes time for them to find a groove, and it's wild. But one where an author has an incredibly successful series and then goes to write a new one, and from what I've heard, but I've never read a lick of it, tries to go swinging at Endgame right out of the gate and it not working, which is it Kishimoto or Hashimoto, the guy who wrote Naruto? Kishimoto. Samurai 8, I believe it's called. The other series he tried to write after Naruto before Boruto started.
Did he do
That I think that was him. I think that's the one. But the thing I've heard about it is that he tried to write the beginning of that as if it was Endgame Naruto, and just, you can't do that. And I feel like that a companion piece to both Naruto, of like, this is what the author did, now that that's done. Naruto is done. What would he do next? And here's somebody writing now who's starting. Is that? I don't know. I don't know if I would want to read all of it anyways, especially if it's not good.
That would probably be better for our new.
That's what I was saying. Like, I think like would get us what we're looking for. I don't think I need if it even has
people
that.
Don't know what that is.
Sorry, you're right. Cut all this. Bleep out what I said. Bleep out the numbers and the words.
And my thoughts.
Bleep out all the proper nouns. It'll be funny. I've said terrible things, guys. That's what I said. I didn't say numbers or objects. I said terrible things that could not be said, or else we get demonetized.
You really shouldn't talk about the Italians like
that. Let's go. Any closing thoughts? I feel like there's so much we didn't get to, but like, I don't know.
I mean, that's the rest of the series.
Yeah.
It's not these first 3 volumes.
There's so many other people we haven't met from the other school. Like, that's the
thing.
That's a meet all of the other Naruto squads at once.
Yeah, as I was reading these first 3, I'm like, wow, there's lots of people. You know, we're meeting new people all the time. And then, like, I got to the end of the 3rd volume, and I was like, we didn't meet most of the people. Like,
no, we met a lot.
So many more characters.
We met a lot of people, and then we didn't we met them for long enough. We met the principals of both schools. We've met. I mean, our little 3 trio of first years.
There's still a bunch of more.
We met the second years.
Maybe not a bunch more. There's still like 4 more students that we haven't met.
The blood guy, Mekamaru. I know there's more now. I'm blanking super hard. The little witch on her broom. That's just Kiki.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we did meet Miwa. Is it Miwa at the very end with the principal?
Oh, yeah, the girl with the light blue hair. I want that hair at some point. The color. I like her color hair. Yeah, we have her. I feel like I'm missing one. Yeah, maybe it is only 4 more. I feel like I'm missing one. All I can think about is Toto because that's where it ends up being.
Yeah.
I love that Mechamaru is made into a pitching machine because his robo body explodes.
But I don't think there's very many more villains that we didn't meet. There's the blood guy.
There's the cursed.
and
isn't
his
he part of the
brothers.
cursed womb? Yeah, the cursed
Yeah.
womb paintings.
But
that becomes like a reoccurring thing.
And then that might be it for the villains.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of homies that show up for Shibuya and
I guess it's the
but they're
Sukuna's
kind of
guy
connected. Yeah, there's
that comes back. But I think that might be
the
it.
guy who takes on spirits, and he takes on the spirit of like one of the biggest motherfuckers in that universe. And then he's that guy's so strong that he just becomes that dude.
Oh yeah, with the granny.
Shigeru's dad. I'm getting big spoilery now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there you go. There's so many more
Context. Who cares? I don't know. Maybe you do. I'm sorry.
But I think there's like 5 or 6 other sorcerers that we haven't met yet that are not students.
We meet some more of Sukuna's guys. The leather worker guy, the shitty guy who has the sword that's the hand. What? Get it? What did I say?
Sukuna.
Sorry. Well, I mean, they're kind of. I mean, they're all. I guess it's collective. Yeah, I guess they're Ghetto's guys. But yeah, there's the guy who makes people into furniture. I hate that blonde indeterminate gender person who has the hand sword and is just the fucking. I hate them so much. They're awful. They're such a good heel. I hate them so much.
I guess we mean
more heels need to be that level of detestable cowardliness and then winning. Like I have not seen that enough in wrestling, and I don't know if it's just because I'm really weird and specific, but like a cowardly character who's just the most mewling little baby and then just kills people you care about is the most just like maddening.
We meet them at the end of the Goodwill.
Yeah, they show up in the Goodwill arc. I think there's one more that I'm not thinking of. I don't remember.
Oh, there's the black guy.
What black guy?
He's got the whip.
Is that during Shibuya incident?
I think that's where he comes back. But I think
black guy with a whip.
I think he's in the prequel.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he comes back until
we got to rewatch Zero again.
And I maybe does he even come back for Shibuya?
Maybe that's the thing I need to think about is how do you introduce a lot of what makes them stick and what doesn't make them stick? Does it just not stick because I've only experienced it once, or is it just because like?
Well, that's the thing.
Does an anime help a character stick more than a manga because I have a voice and a color and a movement related, and that makes them read as humans more to my brain?
But as I'm now thinking about it, I'm remembering more and more and more characters. I think I remember most of them, not necessarily their names.
Distinct design, but people have distinct designs and concepts and stuff like that, so. It's good. I don't know where the wheels come off, but for the first 3 volumes, like, it's cooking.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's sort of interesting to go. I don't recommend the manga, even though it's really good.
I recommend the manga as a companion piece.
Yeah.
And Naruto is like, it's the manga. Like, maybe the anime for certain scenes, but just read the manga. And this is the watch the anime and then give it a little time and then read the manga at your pace.
Naruto might have suffered from the fact that the anime started a long time ago, before they actually would spend real money on anime.
Some of it's that it was made in a time where there wasn't, I guess, I don't know if Naruto had seasons. It was back when it's just like you made the thing forever. It's what One Piece technically has now. Dragon Ball had that for a long time where it's just like you just keep making this. There is no stopping. If there's not enough manga, you make filler. And Jujutsu Kaisen is like a svelte little thing. It has no time for nothing. That's not what it's doing. Which is why I like it has then when they have little extra moments in the anime that aren't in the manga to flesh out character moments.
Yeah.
Because I think it is a really good vibe. I'm thinking in season 2, there's that spot when Yuji, it's Nobara, and I don't remember who the third one is. They're at that diner, and they're like, "It's really like that. It's really like that," and they make the faces.
You're talking about because Yuji's not there.
Yeah,
they're talking with that girl who was from Yuji's old school.
Oh yeah,
his middle school
girl. Yeah, and it's both for Shigeru and Nobara make these wonderful faces. Yeah. I need to go watch that scene again. I love that thing. But yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen. I was really expecting. I feel like it's like Naruto. When we did Naruto, I expected when I was going to read it that I wasn't going to like it as much, and then I ended up loving it. And this is one where I read it and didn't think I was going to like it as much talking about it, and then I ended up liking it a lot and getting excited about it, which I think is good. I like that. I like liking things. It's fun. You've told me to try it, and I have. barring us getting distracted, I do think, and obviously I don't know when it's going to happen because these just happen when I feel like it and we have enough recording time to do it. I do think we're going to do Bleach next.
I think Bleach is probably the one.
I think Bleach is
especially because, like I said, that other one I think works better as.
Oh yeah. I don't want to do 3 volumes of that.
Our new hidden format
Yeah.
that people will find out about in a couple weeks.
Or we've prototyped, but yeah. But yes, with that, with our ending of this and our called shot for Bleach, Brad, hit me with them plugs.
Well, as always, we want to thank Sugoi Mart for partnering with us. Sugoi Mart's a retailer of Japanese snacks, drinks, toys, and merch. All kinds of stuff you can't get outside of Japan. Our listeners can use the code APR15 or click the link in the description to get 15% off their first order. And we want to hear from people, so go to our website, animepodcasterreincarnation.com, where you can leave comments on these episode posts, or you can find our social media links. The best place to chat with us is our Discord. Find the link up there and come and chat with us. We hang out in our Discord and we're pretty responsive. So
my OCD means I will see your post.
You can also find a link to our Patreon up there. Our patrons get perks like getting the high-quality stereo version of the podcast early, bonus episodes, and also getting to vote on what we cover on heroin addiction. And of course, we want to hear from people about what kind of perks they'd like. We're very open to being bribed. And of course, we need to shout out our patrons. So first and foremost, at our noble tier, we have our marquee, Sir Cake Dwarf. At our reincarnated tier, we've got Moon. And last but not least, at our commoner tier, we've got Rena. So thank you so much to all our patrons.
Thanks you, Brad, for that. Thanks you, everybody, for listening. Make sure you listen to all the other series on our feed. And Domain Expansion, Anime Killed the Manga Star. Get ready to lock and load, troops. It's time for Jujutsu Kaisen. You're caught in our domain expansion.
All right, troops, make sure your weapons are clean because it's time for Jujutsu Kaisen. You wouldn't want to have a black flash.
Howdy, folks. I'm turning into an old-timey cowboy.
Oh my God.
We're going to cut this dead air.
Yeah, we're going to cut this.
I'm going to stay silent so there's nothing interesting happening so you can just cut to you having information.
Fucking ad blocker won't get out of my face. Gonna uninstall that shit.
You're just not checking Wikipedia?
I'm looking on Crunchyroll.
Oh, that's your problem. You should have checked Wikipedia.
What kind of women are your favorite?
I don't like bland people.
Twinks.
Actually, no, I'm going to do that.
It's time to end the podcast. Domain expansion.
I'm going to make sure this podcast is a surefire hit. Domain expansion. I hope nobody does a bunch of anime bullshit to break this rule we've just made about surefire hits and domain expansions. See you later.